What's going on, good people? It's Will. Today I want to talk about two drills that could potentially be causing training scars. So what's a training scar? A training scar is a bad habit that can be developed through repetition or through practice that can negatively impact your overall performance. So those two common drills are your draw to first shot, where you're just timing how fast it takes you to get one shot off, whether it's dry fire or live fire, and then your R, or your 1R1 I should say, which is your draw, reload one. So you're gonna draw, fire one shot, reload, fire one shot. Same thing, whether it's dry fire or live. Okay, so both of these drills pretty much cause, or can potentially cause, the same issues in slightly different ways in one part of them. So pretty much for the draw to first shot, the problem is you're rushing to get your gun out as fast as you can, and you're not always getting the appropriate amount of confirmation because you're rushing to get that shot off. You're trying to beat the timer or beat your par time or the best time that you've had. And what happens is you're rushing, so you're not getting the appropriate amount of confirmation. So you end up point shooting, which could be fine depending on the context. But oftentimes in situations when you need an aimed shot, some level of confirmation, you're just point shooting. So you're just aligning the gun to some degree and just letting it fly. So what happens with that, it's not repeatable at all. So you'll be super erratic. You'll have one that's really fast with a great hit, then you have one that's really fast with a complete miss, you have a mic, then one with you have a hit that's way down low or up high or somewhere else, but it's not repeatable, so you can do that time and time again, especially not cold. The other issue is that your grip placement is going to vary. So sometimes you'll actually have your hand way forward on the gun, sometimes it'll be way back, sometimes it's low anywhere else. And then also your grip pressure is going to be inconsistent. I see it all the time with students. I see it all the time on the internet. People that are trying to rush and do their draw to first shot. If you look at their hand placement, each time they draw the gun, it's a little bit different. So the same thing is probably happening with their pressure. With the reload, it happens at a different stage. It may happen here, right, at the first shot, but it also may happen after the reload. Now again, they're not getting the consistent pressure or contact with the gun with their support hand. So that causes an issue. The other thing is sometimes people will also fire before they normally would. They're trying to rush, or they end up firing here. Like just one fire. So they normally fire here instead of getting to an extension that they normally would. Now I get it. If space is an issue, you might not want to press all the way out. I fully understand that, but that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because they're trying to cheat the drill. So I'm not saying don't do draw to first shot to find out where you are, where your inefficiencies are, and what you can work on. I'm not saying don't do 1R1s, but you got to make sure that you're not doing them all the time. And when you are doing them, make sure that you're switched on. So when you get a draw, okay, are my sights aligned appropriately for this type of shot? Is my support hand where it needs to be? Is my strong hand where it needs to be? What about the amount of pressure? You know, there's a bunch of ways to grip a gun. The way that you grip the gun, are your pressures appropriate for what you're trying to do? And making sure that you're not gripping the gun loosely because you know it's only one shot, so there's no recoil management that's needed. So just make sure we're really switched on if you're doing those things. Again, I don't recommend doing them all the time. In fact, most of the time in dry fire, when I do my quote-unquote draw the first shot, I don't even press the trigger. So what I'll do is I'll draw and I just go to trigger prep, right? So I go to the wall and I just stop. So I'm not actually breaking the shot most of the time. But either way, I want to keep this really quick. Those are a couple ways that you can cause some training scars. If you have any questions, hit me up. Y'all be safe.